Good morning, boys and girls. Happy Monday. Okay, we are talking about nonfiction again, okay? And remember that word genre, right? What category or group a book fits in. And there's two main genres we've talked about, the fiction and nonfiction. And again, I told you there's other parts of fiction and nonfiction, but for right now, we're focusing on fiction and nonfiction and what makes a book nonfiction, okay? So nonfiction, when we talked about, it must be true. It's facts. All in that book are true things. If it's not true, it can't be nonfiction. Remember, nonfiction means not fake. It's true. Okay. And a lot of times there's real photographs in there. Someone went out into nature or science or looked up something and took that picture. Okay. And then they put it in the book. It's of a real thing. And then sometimes not every book, not every nonfiction text has a table of contents. Do you remember what that is? Yes. Table of contents it's a list of things that are in the story and they're organized by what page number. So if you're trying to find something specific, right? Something you're like, oh, remember we did the butterflies and caterpillars? Oh, what happens when the caterpillar's in the chrysalis? Let me look up at the table of contents. Oh, chrysalis is page 10. I'm going to page 10. Okay. That's how I use the table of contents. And remember that word in green right there starts with a G, glossary. Yeah, that's that fancy word for a list of words that might be new or tricky or you've never heard of, and they explain what those words mean, okay? In the glossary for the caterpillars, we learned what the proboscis is. That's that tongue, that straw-like tube, right, that they drink nectar from. It's called a proboscis. Now, we're going to talk about, you see in the blue right there, caption and labels. All right, caption. Okay, so a caption, right? Captions are located near or under a photo, okay? They explain what is happening in that photo. Sometimes nonfiction books will have a picture and it might be a close-up of an animal or skin or something, or you might see the picture and be like, I think I know what's going on there. A caption is one or two sentences, usually it's short, explaining what's going on in that picture, in that photo, okay? A lot of times it's underneath, but I don't want to say that every time it's underneath. Sometimes it can be above or right next to it. A caption explains what's happening in that photo, okay? Now, a label, I just want to show you. Here's the caption here, okay? Like I said, there's a close-up right here. This was in our butterfly book, okay? I circled it. If that wasn't there, okay, that one sentence right there underneath that picture, you might be like, what is that a picture of, right? Because when you just look at it, I have no idea what that is. To me, it almost looks like maybe it could be fabric, part of a shirt, a rug. Doesn't it look kind of like a rug? Yeah, but the caption explains that picture. Okay, that caption, that sentence, okay, is the scales of a wing look like this close up. I read that very important sentence, that caption, and it explains that's not a rug or carpet, right? That is actually a close-up of a butterfly wing. There's scales and what it looks like close up. Pretty cool, right? Same thing with the bottom there. They're pointing to proboscis, okay? So a caption explains the picture. Now, again, they're going to be captions aren't in every single nonfiction, but they're in a lot of nonfiction books, okay? Now, labels. Now, I know what you know. I know you know what labels are. We've done labels with science and social studies and labelings, maybe our pictures and writing. It's sometimes when you can use an arrow or you might just put a tiny word right next to that picture, that part of that picture, right? And you're explaining it. So it's similar to captions where it's explaining what's in that picture, but it's pointing to something in a photo to name it maybe. Label is usually kind of like a 1 or 2 word little label here, okay? So a label here in the butterfly parts, all right? If there weren't the labels, you would just say, oh, that's a butterfly. But with the labels, it gets a little more specific what's in that picture. There it's pointing to the wing. And then you see the eye with the red arrow pointing to the eye. And then that thing sticking out of its head right there is called an antenna. That label tells us that. And then, maybe you didn't know this, but that center part, not the wing part, is called the butterfly's body. All right. The labels, they're very short, but they explain what's going on in the picture as well, just maybe the parts of it. They're pointing out something important or they're naming something in there. Labels, again, they're not in every nonfiction, but they're in a lot of nonfiction, right? It's another way for us to learn more about the topic. Okay, so we did a lot about butterflies and caterpillars last week, and Miss Heller, I believe, is going to teach more about butterflies and caterpillars in science. I wanted to switch to more nonfiction, but a frog life cycle. Now, I want to tell you why frogs, does anyone know why frogs are similar to butterflies? You're probably like, Miss Nose, you're crazy. Butterflies fly, frogs do not fly. I know, and frogs are not an insect. I know that, but what if I told you frogs aren't really frogs when they're born? See what I'm going at? Just like butterflies aren't really butterflies when they're born, they're baby caterpillars, right? So I'm going to show you, and then this nonfiction book, this nonfiction text is, we're going to go through the frog life cycle, okay? How a frog is born, what does it look like, does it change, and then how it becomes a frog, kind of like the butterfly life cycle. Okay, so, and I'll be sure to point out some captions and some labels. I don't know if there's labels in here, but I'll be sure to point out some captions in here, okay? All right, so let's look at, oh, okay, so I do want to tell you that this book does not have a table of contents. And that's okay. It doesn't mean it's not a nonfiction book. It's still nonfiction. This is all true in here. It's just, it's not big enough to really have a table of contents where you have to kind of organize and figure out where things are. It's a short enough book that it doesn't really need it, okay? So not every book needs a table of contents. All right, so let's see. Let's look at frogs. In the spring, male frogs gather at ponds. They croak, that means croak, like make their noise, to attract female frogs. Ribbit, ribbit, there's me croaking. Okay, so at long last, female frogs arrive. The females lay eggs in the water. Now, look at that picture right there, okay? And underneath it, the caption is written in this on that cool red arrow right there. It says, let's look at those eggs. Thank goodness there was a caption there, because to me, that looks like maybe blueberries that you would put on a pancakes, maybe, right? But now that I read that very important sentence, that caption, right, underneath that photo, I know now, oh, those are frog eggs. Got it, not blueberries, even though they look like blueberries. Okay, so the mother frog lays lots of eggs. The eggs are covered in jelly, so they stick together. Interesting. Inside each egg is a squirmy tadpole. They did not say in each egg is a squirmy baby frog or a frog. It's a tadpole. Some of you might be like, yeah, I knew that. So a tadpole starts as a tiny black dot. Soon the egg hatches and a baby tadpole comes out. So they're saying the tadpole starts as a tiny black dot. And then, okay, first of all, I had no idea what that picture was on the bottom. I didn't know if it was like a chicken finger in the water. It's not. It says, let's look at a tadpole. So there's a tadpole, what a tadpole first looks like. Thank you for the caption. Phew. Oh, we do have labels. Yes. Okay, so a baby tadpole has gills and a tail. Gills are made for breathing underwater. The tail helps the tadpole to swim. Now, thank goodness in this picture there's labels, because yeah, we just learned that the tadpole has gills and a tail, but you might not know where they are on the body. Look here, the gills are at the front of the body here, and that arrow is pointing to the gills, and it has a tail. Hold up. Do frogs have tails? Nope, I've never seen a frog with tails. Have you? Really think right now. Oh, you're not gonna be able to see that. They don't have tails. Why does a baby tadpole have tails? And gills, like a fish? I don't think frogs have gills. What's going on here? And now, this isn't a made-up story. This is a true book. This is a true text. This is a nonfiction text. So what they're telling us is true right now. So we have to believe them. We're gonna learn some more, but I'm telling you right now, frogs do not have tails. So let's keep going. At first, the baby tadpole lives only in the water. After 6 weeks, it starts to change. Okay, so here's another picture with a caption of a tadpole. Okay, wow, it kind of looks like a fish, doesn't it? Now, if there wasn't a caption there, I would think they were just showing us a close-up picture of a fish. But it's a tadpole. Cool. All right, let's see. First, the tadpole grows back legs. Then its gills disappear. Whoa. Part of its body disappears. Its gills where it breathes. Very cool. Now look, this is like almost like a caption here, but it's like a mini version of a glossary here. It says metamorphosis. Hey, we've heard of metamorphosis with the butterflies and caterpillars. Frogs go through metamorphosis. Okay, let's see. Metamorphosis means a big change. Some animals go through this to become adults. hey, buddy, not just animals. Insects do too. Butterflies do. So metamorphosis. Crazy long word to just mean big change, okay? All right, so then it grows front legs. Its tail gets shorter. Soon the tadpole changes into a froglet. Ha, a froglet. Okay, here's more labels. It says back legs and front legs. Okay, at first the tadpole only had, I think, back legs. And now let's see. Oh, this is a picture of a froglet. That caption let us know that that's a close-up picture of a froglet. Now the froglet must learn to live on land, which is, let's see. Watch out, its long, sticky tongue. Snap, it caught a juicy fly. There's the frog that I kind of know, right? Yeah, that's what I think of. They're eating with their tongue, not really kind of swimming in the water. All summer, the froglet eats and grows. In the fall, it loses its tail. Now it's a full-grown frog. Yeah, it doesn't have a tail. Frogs don't have tails. So when it's a froglet, kind of like a teenager frog, it starts to lose its tail. Cool. Kind of like the caterpillar and butterfly. I think the butterfly might have only had 6 legs, I'm pretty sure. And a caterpillar, I thought I read, had like 16 or 17. I think it's like 16 legs. So they definitely lose some legs there with the caterpillar. So here's a close-up. Let's look at the frog. Cool. A full-grown frog has strong back legs and webbed feet. Its legs let it jump far and high. Its webbed feet help it to swim fast. So it still swims in the ocean, right? But it also lives on the land too. It's not just in the water or not just on the land. Oh, and there's a close-up of the webbed feet right there. At 3 years old, the frog is ready to be an adult. It returns to the pond. Ribbit, ribbit. Once again, the pond will fill up with frog eggs. And the cycle continues. Remember we said it before, it kind of goes in a circle here, the life cycle of a butterfly, a life cycle of a frog. So let's look at what we found about frogs. Okay, now here's the captions underneath the photos again. Start as eggs floating in a pond, not blueberries. Next, turn into squirmy tadpoles that live in water, not chicken fingers. The green one grows legs and starts to breathe air. That's not a fish. We learned that was a tadpole. Change into froglets that leave the water, become full-grown frogs. Cool. Isn't it amazing to learn about frogs? Very cool. Very cool stuff. So here is the glossary. Now, I thought we knew a bunch of those words, but if you didn't know what an egg was, what a tadpole comes out of, a female is a girl, a froglet is a young frog. Gills, the part of a tadpole that breathe underwater. Fish have gills, so that's why I was a little confused at first with the frog. Hatch, to break open or come out of an egg. A male is a boy. Metamorphosis, yeah, a big change that some animals go through to become adults. And a tadpole, a creature that turns into a young frog. Very cool. All right, so today for nonfiction, right? Always, it has to be true. Everything in there is true, okay? There's not make-believe things in the nonfiction text or the books. Most of the time, there's all real photos in there. Now, table of contents, remember, it doesn't have to be in every nonfiction book. Like this one we had didn't have it. Glossary, super important. It explains what maybe those hard, tricky words or those new words you didn't know were. And today what we learned were the caption and labels, right? Caption and labels help explain that photo. Maybe you're not sure what you're even looking at, and that caption explains it, and the label might point to something even more important in there. All right, so maybe you can today at home read a nonfiction book or in school read a nonfiction book and take a look. Does it have any captions? Does it have labels in there, right? Try and read that caption and get an idea of what's going on in that photo. All right, have a great day and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye.